culminating with his victory over Conceicao, and after losing his title belts on the scale, Shakur Stevenson is now looking to move onward and upward towards the 135-pound weight division. There are exciting things on the horizon for this young man. Let's talk about Shakur Stevenson.
For Spence right now. He's been throwing that right left continuously.
After watching Shakur Stevenson's performance against Conceicao, I observed something that I kind of felt about this fighter that really came to light in the aftermath of his performance. Now, we do understand that he had a situation where he was having difficulty making the weight, so his titles were vacated prior to the fight, meaning that Conceicao could win the titles, but Shakur could not retain and was not defending the titles. Boxing politics will be what they are from now until forever. But let's talk about the fighter and the performance of Shakur Stevenson in this bout. A lot of people raised a number of judgment-based, even somewhat of, I guess you can call it, a manner of attacking him. But with his record now of 10-0 and 9 KOs, he's showing something that a lot of fighters in this current era of boxing are not showing. And it takes me back to something that I remember in a different era, when we had the fighters who came from the '84 Olympics turning pro, and they stepped up their challenges in their bouts with lesser fights, meaning that each fight led toward the progression of the individual and development of the individual with each new opponent. Guys today are feasting their careers on fighters that don't belong in the ring with them. And one of the outstanding qualities Shakur has is that he's defensively proficient in there, reminding me again, as I was going to say, of Pernell Sweet Pea Whitaker, who challenged for a world title in his 15th professional fight against Jose Luis Ramirez. Evander Holyfield challenged for a world title in his 12th professional fight against Dwight Muhammad Qawi. When you bring fighters to a point with this minimum amount of fights on their ledger, they have to be capable. They have to have enough of the all-round abilities to thrive at the championship level. This man has that. Most people are not giving him the credit that he deserves because there is too much focus paid nowadays against the guys who are doing the opposite. 10-0 with 9 KOs. His last 3 opponents, Conceicao, Valdez, Herring, all champions. 3 in a row, people. And now he's moving up to another division where he'll be more comfortable as far as making the weight and as he grows as a man. This is exciting if you watch boxing for the right reasons, because Shakur Stevenson is a talented fighter who has a lot going on offensively, defensively, and psychologically. He's very sound of mind. What I would like to see from him as he moves up to this next division is he increase his punch output. That will assist him in being more definitive in his bouts. It is okay to go for the kill when you have the ability that Shakur has. He is not the type of fighter who you have to press to do something. He takes the opportunities as they come his way, but he is so confident in his abilities, he's very laid back when it comes to it. But don't mistake being laid back for being apprehensive, or even, as some fighters have been accused of being, hesitant. None of that applies to this young fighter. I believe what faces him now is the challenges, the test of exactly how good is he. At 135, there will be tests for him, and he will have to produce answers to those tests. One of the things is fighting men that are slightly larger than he, even though he's still pretty big himself. The power factor. I've heard him speak about not being concerned about a guy landing power shots on him because he is more than capable of not only evading and defending, but he's capable of unleashing something himself. That's the next phase that we need to see from Shakur. At 135, I want to see some knockouts. I want to see some real stoppages, because I do believe he's more than capable. But keep an eye on the percentages of punches that are landed against him. When fighters realize that they can't land shots against a fighter, they become hesitant. Therefore, his footwork is going to come into play. Now, we haven't seen him have to utilize footwork at 130. Most of the time, he's going forward, walking guys down, slipping, blocking, punching, parrying. But there will be some aggressors who will give him the opportunity to move around a little bit. And I don't lose confidence in his ability to do that. A complete fighter will be able to make adjustments. And because he has a high ring IQ, we, more than Devin Haney, more than other fighters like Chris Colbert, we may be really looking at another fighter like Sweet Pea Whitaker more than we realize. And let it be said that Whitaker punched a lot harder than people gave him credit for, but he relished defeating fighters over the distance because his philosophy was, if you beat a man for 12 rounds, what can his excuse be? When you knock a guy out, he could say, I got caught, I forgot to duck, so forth and so on. But the humiliation factor of not being able to win a round against a pristine champion is this mindset that Sweet Pea fought under. I believe Shakur has something similar. In his own way, of course. I am not calling him Sweet Pea Whitaker. But he brings something to the ring that a lot of his contemporaries do not. And that is the ability to be both offensive and defensive. Have opponents land a minimum of shots against him while he's outscoring them consistently. Now it's time to step it up and start taking people out. It's evolution. It's the solution of how he will rise in the pound for pound rankings. How many fighters out there right now at 135 are willing to step up to the plate and take him on in their next bout? That's the question. We're not talking about Devin Haney, because Haney already is facing Kambosos in their scheduled rematch. But challenges are of the premium here. And it's going to show you who is really willing and who is not. Who wants to be the first to get in there with Shakur? It should be someone with a name, not just some guy to get his feet wet in the division. Shakur is more than confident in being able to be a champion at the next weight level. What are your thoughts? I believe the future is awfully bright for this young man as long as he keeps his head on straight. This is Stormy B, man. Those are my thoughts about Shakur Stevenson and what's onward and upward ahead of him on his path. Shout out to the mighty LDBC. Leave comments. Let me know what your thoughts are. Liberated Perspective, a third eye view of the world. For more content such as this, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. I am excited for the future of Shakur Stevenson, if for nothing else, to shake up the division of 135. These guys are going to have to face him. Peace to everyone out there, and everyone remain safe.